Tissue in 5 minutes. Tissue is a kind of strange poem that seems to have 100 different ideas all flying over the place. So let's try and simplify this as we go through. Tissue, of course, is paper that is fragile because it's very clearly seen through. And the whole thing here seems to be to do with fragility and strength and the relationship between the two things. What's fragile could be strong. What's strong could actually be fragile. This comes with paper that lets the light shine through. That's what could alter things. So, fragility, strength. And as it's thin by age or touching, again, the impact of humans on it. Again, it's strength because we are making it thin through our desire to read it, to see what's there. So it's making a fragile, or making strong through fragile. Making strong, something strong in terms of that by making it fragile at the same time. She then uses the idea of the Quran. So again, a book that has changed the world. She uses that obviously because it's her religion. And then in the back, at the same time, we've got the personal. So we've got a book that has changed the world, but we've got a kind of an idea of the personal versus the kind of the global at the same time in the same book. How in both cases, writing down names and histories and the Quran, the word message of the Quran, can both be alongside each other and can have very different significances. Smoothed and stroked and turned transparent with attention. Back to that idea of the impact of humans, making something important, making something fragile because of its importance. She then shifts this to the idea of buildings, that buildings again could be much more interesting. They're made of paper. We go to the idea of maps that are made of paper. The sense that what we have is, on the one side, we have things like border lines and roads and rail tracks. So we have the kind of the man-made things that are represented on maps. But we also have the natural things that are there. The idea that the two kind of work alongside each other, in a sense of what maps are, things that give you direction. Okay? A word that's just mentioned above there. She goes on to say more about paper in terms of the idea of grocery slips paid by credit card, the idea of materialism or capitalism potentially controlling our lives through paper. Not so true anymore, of course, but was. But what she says is that they could fly our lives like paper kites. Now remember, kites, provide the illusion of control. Kites, also the illusion of freedom, when they're actually under control. Kites appear to be free, flying wherever they like in the sky, but of course they're being held on below. So is it a sense that we feel we're free, but we're not, we're being controlled? And again, the fragility of our lives being like paper kites. So she comes back to this idea then, to finish, of buildings. That an architect could build with brick, never build again with brick or block, but build with paper. Okay? Using ideas of luminous script, so kind of like ancient texts, building together, things that have got value and worth. Because the idea would be that the daylight would then break through it. The idea that the light would shine through these buildings and therefore let them in. Of course it wouldn't, but never mind, that's not the point. And raising a structure that is never meant to last. The idea that something that is transitory, that doesn't exist forever, is a good thing, and maybe things shouldn't be built to last. That comes back, a structure of paper meant like that, And then she brings it round to the idea of skin tissue, that we could apply this to ourselves potentially. Lots of ideas, tough to put them together.